What's a disproven parenting myth that way too many people still believe? To prevent allergies, avoid giving your child these foods until they are much older. It has been proven over and over again that exposing your child to traditionally allergy-prone foods in very small amounts when they are younger drastically reduces allergy potential, even to the point of doing so in utero. Having a kid will cause someone to step up, straighten out, grow up, mature, etc. That nonverbal kids don't understand what you say. This one is common in the autism community. Dads are more than babysitters. It's been 20 plus years since I was a single father. But the attitudes towards men and parenthood haven't changed as much as they should have. Don't ask a dad if he is giving mom a break today. Don't assume dad doesn't know how to settle down their child. Don't stare at dad at the park when dad is there with his kid. And for God's sake, can businesses install a change table in the men's washroom? That there is anything even remotely approaching a consensus on best practices when it comes to raising a child. I've only been a parent for 5 months, and the sheer volume of confident, authoritative, and completely contradictory advice I've received has been staggering. As best as I can tell, just work on keeping them healthy, secure, and loved, and try to muddle your way through as best you can on rest. ETA. Folks, if you think you're the first to point out that everyone agrees that corporal punishment is, in fact, bad, you're not. I'd been including, don't beat your child, in the keep them healthy, secure, and loved directive. But thanks anyway. Picking up your baby too much will spoil them. FFs. Pick up a crying child and meet their needs, sometimes which is just a need for comfort and bonding with their caretaker. What world record are you sure you own without any actual proof? Fastest date of all time. I showed up to her house, picked her up, and as soon as we sat down in the car, she said, "TBH, I am really not that interested in going out tonight. I didn't mean to lead you on." I was like, okay, no stress, but I get it. She gets out. I go home. Date lasted like 5 seconds. Not me, but my brother. He was in the backyard. Mom was in the front yard. Brother threw a blueberry. Yes, a blueberry. Over the house, and it landed in her hand. I can't explain it. I don't know why he did it. We still all talk about it to this day. This was maybe 10 years ago. Blueberry throw of the century. 57 exploratory operations to retrieve cancer tumors. 30 months of my life living in the death ward. And now I am the longest living from this rare cancer. I have 2 jaywalking tickets. I've never met someone with one. I can't imagine anyone else on earth has more than 2. I was riding my bike super fast one time, and I have no idea how, why. But my front wheel locked up and I flew over the bars. Somehow landed on my feet, and while I'm running out of it, my bike was doing front flips behind me, and the front of my seat went down the back of my shorts. And I stood there wearing my bike like a backpack. I don't know what the record would be. Maybe silliest almost bicycle crash save? Highest average of trips to Lowe's when working on a project at the house. What is the silliest statement you have ever heard someone make? Someone once told me that paramedics, nurses, doctors are not allowed to do CPR on someone they know, because it's a conflict of interest. I worked at a place that gave a military discount. Family, mom, dad, adult son, adult daughter, walked in. Dad was reading the prices and pointed out to the son that he could get a discount. This kid takes the sign, reads it, and says, "As God is my witness, I'm not in the military. I'm in the army." How did they get the paint all the way up the sides? Quote, middle-aged woman touring the meteor crater in Az. That's not paint. Those are the actual colors of the rock. Her husband, giving her a long stare and walking away. I had a boss say, "Oh, you don't want kids. You should just have one to try it out." Really? And what happens if I find out that I truly don't want kids? Can we just put it back where it came from? A friend of mine said she got more tanned when riding her bike than she did when walking because on her bike, she was closer to the sun. Earlier today I offered a cough drop upon my flight's landing to the lady wet coughing right behind me the whole flight. "Oh, no thanks. I'm not sick. I just went to Oregon and have felt awful the whole time since." Okay, so, sick? What are some things that are still surprisingly cheap even after COVID and inflation? Bananas lol, I can still get a whole bunch of 5 or 6 for under $2. Computer RAM and SSDs have been getting cheaper at a surprising rate as tech advances. TVs are dirt cheap comparatively. The bar by my house is still serving up fried foods that will kill me and 20 ounces Jack and Cokes for $2. Dangerous place. Costco hot dog. Skateboard decks have been like $50 to $60 since around 1985. What is the worst thing you've seen someone get addicted to that wasn't any form of drug like substance or alcohol? Shopping. A friend's GF barely leaves the house except for work, and she shops online obsessively. Their garage is a solid cube of stuff, much of it unopened. Every inch of their home is crammed. There must be 150 scented candles in that house. He says he comes home every day to a stack of deliveries. Pudding. I worked with a guy whose wife signed him up for a Pudding of the Month club as a gag gift. Turns out the guy really likes pudding. I borrowed a power saw from him one time and he showed me a section of his basement that was just shelves and shelves of pudding. Pudding cups. Instant pudding. The kind you have to cook. He even had a chest freezer filled with some weird foreign kind of pudding pop. He actually looked pretty good considering all the sugar he ate. Me, gambling, FML. Started GA last week. Hope I'm done for good. Gambling. Witnessed a friend blow $190K last year. TikTok, social media, doom scrolling. And every day I see more and more examples. Even worse. Some days I am one. ETA a good and dandy dissonance tool. A toxic boy. It was like my daughter was a junkie for him and he treated her like shit. It was horrible. She would cry every day. The littlest thing would make her bawl. Finally, when she was crying one day and said, "I feel like I'm dying inside," I told her dad we needed to do something. I took her to a faraway state where my best friend lives and we gave her a month-long vacay. She had a blast. Their relationship didn't even last 3 days when she got home. I think she realized there was more to life. Which was the goal. What is something more emotionally painful than getting cheated on? Death of your child. Edit. This certainly got a lot of traction and a ton of responses. For those who have opened up about losing a child, no matter how young or old, how recent or how long ago, and those that lost siblings and have lived with that pain to your family, and even those who had friends whose deaths wrecked their families and parents. My heart goes out to everyone. Too many responses to reply individually. And most probably won't look back to see this edit. Was just the first thing that came to my mind, and quick comment as it's something I fear greatly. And can't stomach to think of as a parent of 3 under the age of 10. But I get choked up thinking about anyone who dies, especially children with parents still alive. Or siblings. Or any extended family. Seeing a loved one go on a downward spiral and you can do nothing to stop it. Being abused by a parent, that's a whole other level of betrayal. Losing a person that you truly loved. Watching your most precious person die a painful and scary death and knowing there's nothing you can do about it. Fuck cancer. Suicide bereavement. I lost my best friend in 2022. Found him Every day is a struggle to not be in my grief. I'd take 100 heartbreaks, 100 nights of going to bed hungry, and 100 punches right to the face just to have him back. Subscribe, my brothers.